every evening when the sun goes down, get with my party and I begin to clown. I don't care what the people are thinking. I'm not drunk, I'm just a drinking. I set 'em up, another round. I set 'em up, another round. I set 'em up, another round. One more round won't get me down.
Hello and welcome to Drinking with Fear. Welcome and thanks for sticking with us and thanks for enjoying it, because if you weren't enjoying it, you won't be listening to this episode right now. You can subscribe via iTunes, via the podcast provider of choice. If you go on your mobile phone, Wayne, then you'll be able to just get it if you click on podcast.
I don't go on my phone.
Of course you don't. Ben, and you've got you've got a Samsung, so you can go on Google Play because it's on there.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And of course, you can always go to drinkingwithfear.com or drinkingwithfear.co.uk and you can see all the episodes there, and it's all nicely nice. Facebook, Twitter, all that rubbish that you're not on. Yeah.
Just.
So anyway, we're sat once again, and first of all, we'll start with the drinks. So you've got a Moretti, Wayne.
I have got a Moretti. I've not opened it yet. I was waiting to the sound.
Waiting to break the
smashing the mic as well.
Christ.
There we go.
Christ
Enjoy
alive.
the sound of that.
Jean-Claude Van Damme's over there again.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with the course. It's on offer in Tesco's, so I'll crack on with that.
Why not? Why not, indeed? And for me, actually, I've gone.
Fear, what you got?
I've gone more Peroni.
That does look like a nice Peroni.
Yeah, it does. It's a big bottle as well because, again, we don't do small bottles. Never buy small bottles because they are crap.
Indeed.
So something happened to me today. Actually, I've got a story that happened exactly today, and I'm not going to say it's the best thing that's ever happened, but it's at least in the top 3. So I finished
the best things that ever happened.
Yeah.
So we're taking out losing virginity.
Exactly.
First
He's
kiss.
not lost his virginity.
It's essentially, for me, it was brilliant. But anyway, I'll let you all judge it. So I went to the Range today, the shop, the Range that basically sells.
Not sodding out of the world, mate.
It sells a load of rubbish basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I went there and I stood in queue. And there was behind me about 4 or 5 like old couples, and old couple in front of me, and I'm sat there with a trolley full of basically crap. And anyway, when the couple in front of me went, in front of me is the exit and entrance, and in walks from the exit what can only be described as a woman Godzilla type thing, and she walked towards the counter in a style of a herd charging. And exactly.
Yeah.
And everyone looks at her as if to say, you're obviously going to want to be served now. Why you're walking in the exit, I don't know. So she walked up to the cashier, and the cashier looked at me with wide eyes as if to say, can I just deal with this? And I looked at her with wide eyes to say, you deal with this, don't worry. So basically, this creature walked in from the exit, and she moved up to the counter. And she basically put her wares down on the counter, a load of rubbish, and quickly turned around in front of me. And I'm like, okay, this is really rude, but because I'm British and because I'm never really going to make a scene or anything, I'm just going to stand there. So I stood there and looked at the cashier, and she started serving. And it's like, okay, fine, just get it done with, and we'll be fine. Turn around till the 3 or 4 old couples behind me and kind of lift my eyes and say, look at this, and they all do the same and kind of like half shake their head. Not a full shake their head, but just in case, the marshmallow woman turns around and sees everyone.
Of course, you don't want to go Godzilla on you.
Exactly. So I turned back round, and then I saw it. I looked down at her, past her greasy hair, and I saw on her T-shirt,
Mum?
a white T-shirt, I saw a fairy. And the fairy looked back at me, and it had a kind of a sad face, as in, I'm not taking off with this King Kong inside this T-shirt. And
I am so lost.
It dawned on me all of a sudden that the T-shirt she's wearing is back to front. She's got her T-shirt on the wrong way round. And
you cannot give a credible argument whilst wearing the wrong sort of attire, can you?
It was like a warm glow that came over me. It was fantastic. And so she got served. She finished, and she's about to walk off. And I thought, this could be the one chance, the one time in my life that I actually say something out loud in public, kind of almost make a scene. But what shall I say? So, as she basically waddled off towards the exit once again after walking in the exit with her bag of crap, she got to about 2 steps from the exits, and I just loudly went, excuse me, excuse me. To which everyone kind of went, oh no, there's going to be a scene. She stopped and span round in an instant, and I just went, you do realise you've got your T-shirt on back to front?
You told her in public.
To which, as she looked down, beyond her 5 chins, it then happened. The label flicked out of her top with the timing of a comedy great. And I just stood there and went, and there we go. I looked back round at the 3 or 4 couples behind me, and there was an old chap at the back, and he did the slightest nod of appreciation. And for me, it was like
better than a laugh.
Like winning a gold medal at the Olympics. I turned to Sharon, who was a bit behind the counter.
Oh, Sharon, you got
and
a name.
Sharon just looked back at me as if I've won first prize, and it was just the most glorious thing ever. And then she happened to put all my stuff across and charged me 98 quid for loads of crap.
What the fuck did you buy at the range for 98 quid?
Nonsense.
Yeah, you can't do that, mate.
Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But there we go. That happened to me today.
Well done, mate.
Well, we're done.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Not all heroes wear capes. What have you managed to accomplish with your life today? How many people? How much shit have you dug through?
I've done a great deal, but I just kind of want to address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
She's not here. She was gone at
at 7 o'clock. But I would just like to say, Roper is already well wankered.
Yes, I am. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm happy with that. So,
we've come here for a civilised drink, but no, this is the point of the podcast.
Yeah,
is why we're doing it. Is to come here and get pissed.
no,
and have
I
fun.
met up with friends earlier on 4 o'clock, and it's now knocking on 7. So it's not that pissed, if I'm honest.
You seem all right. You seem like
I'm okay. I'm in a steady place.
Yeah, I mean, I like a drink, but I'm a lightweight. I mean, I can do about 4 or 5 pints, and then
on a good day,
I'm in trouble after that.
I wouldn't say that. But
so when we take this podcast on the road, which is to the pub, we're going to have to remember that. So it's going to take me a long time to set up the equipment, because that's just an excuse for Wayne to have like 3 or 4 beers.
Yeah, to get started. Yeah,
and then you can come out with some more rubbish about The Little Mermaid or whatever.
Of course. I mean, I could. Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, I could do the shorts. I could go on a couple of whiskies instead. So, I mean, it's not that I can drink any more of it. It's just that I can drink it quicker.
Yeah. So. Essentially, as well, this when we actually did the podcast originally, when we did the first few episodes, they were all done, in a sequence. They were done on different days, but they all kind of got released at the same time. So you'd listen to a first few, and now this probably will be the first one you listen to after the big release. This is the whole point. So
will this be the one that comes after the big release?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Because we're not just releasing one episode straight away. We're releasing about 4 or 5.
We don't want to get people
we should
bored.
Probably talk about this beforehand, shouldn't we?
Well, it's happened now. It's happened. So essentially, that's what's happened. So this is probably the first one you've listened to again after the big release
that you've had to wait for.
So
we're sorry to disappoint you.
Mm-hmm. Not at all. Yeah. Not at all.
Very loose comedy. Very loose.
I think they've gone really well.
So in my day today, I spent. So my week this week has been spent in Worcester and in Dorking in South London, and Dorking, also there from Wednesday through to Friday. Is very big on charity. They love the charity. And they also are very big on hiring people that have difficulties, which I'm all for. I think it's brilliant.
Charity shops, are they big on?
I don't know on that, but it's employing people that wouldn't generally get a opportunity in other people's shops. So, yeah.
Scutters.
Yeah. I can't
Do you mean
say
scutters, or do you mean disabled people?
But the funniest part of my
I didn't realise that. I didn't realise that.
I think it was implying it was for like disabled people
I didn't know
people
that.
who are a bit
I
chubby.
didn't know that.
Well, you might not have known that, but I don't think it'd take a rocket scientist to figure it out.
I'm not a rocket scientist.
Well, you are not.
No. Carry on, Ben.
Okay, so the funniest part of my week this week is in the the exit to Dorking store was that they were hiring people to promote Alzheimer's research, and which is a fantastic charity. We do a lot of work for it. But they had somebody with a shaker tin that suffered from Alzheimer's.
Oh, God. Was there nothing in there, but she still shook it?
It was an old boy, bless him. And he looked like he wouldn't last a week.
Oh.
I did say on my first day there, said, is this guy going to last the rest of the day? And they followed up by saying, no, we had him 2 weeks ago and he fell asleep whilst he was doing this. And bless him, he was a lovely bloke. But I would continue to walk past him. Of course, I'm a smoker, so I'll walk past this guy many times a day.
You blanked him every time?
No, I couldn't because he was that...
This guy's a war hero. The
yeah,
Boer
exactly. So I couldn't. So I fell into the trap the first time. He was shaking his tin at me as I walked past. Anything for Alzheimer's. And you feel obliged to do so. So I put £1 in his pot and walked out. And I thought, that'll be me. I'm good for the rest of the week. But unfortunately, they've employed somebody that actually has Alzheimer's.
So are you saying that you've had to pay several times?
I paid £5 over the course of 2.5 days in this place. Because I genuinely felt sorry for it and I wanted to contribute towards all that.
It wasn't so much because he couldn't remember if he paid already.
I thought it was just a nasty tactic.
Yeah.
The nasty tactic to put somebody there that is quite clearly suffering that you want to pay to make sure he's okay.
But you could have told him that you've already paid.
I know. If you
Even
were
if you
there,
haven't.
I know you can abuse Alzheimer's if you want, and that's obviously where you are. You would like to abuse Alzheimer's.
I just said it was an option.
So I went with the side of he's in a bad way, so I wanted to pay this guy. And then the next time I walked past, he was still looking at me with his longing eyes and shaking a tin in front of me. With
longing eyes?
His eyes are very long. It's very drooped. Very drooped at the time. But yeah,
At least they weren't rolled back in his head.
Ended up costing me a £5 throughout the course of 2.5 days. Just walking past the fella.
I'm about to say, Sungan, so you've paid a £5 to charity, and that's the worst thing. Well, not the worst thing. That's your main story.
I never publicised it. It's my worst thing. I thought it was quite funny, if I'm honest.
Oh, exactly. I don't like to publish my charity work. I don't like to talk about it. Do you know what I mean?
What charity work have you done this week, Pete?
This week?
Yeah. Talk to me about it. Come on. Hit me with your charity.
I've basically tried to reason with a drunkard person regarding Alzheimer's and tried to correct him in his ways. Yes, and it's not worked very well at all. And
it's great for radio, mate.
Well, you got one person sat in between us as well who's trying to basically destroy my arguments.
I'm just looking it down and not
you
paying
are looking
attention.
Down.
Yeah, because it's just getting a bit awkward now.
It's not getting awkward at all. Burt Reynolds died.
Oh, no, I saw that.
Yeah, I did see that.
What, see him die?
Another icon. I needed Pedro for this.
When you heard that Burt Reynolds died, which Burt Reynolds came to mind straight away?
Oh, the Bandit.
Was it really?
Yeah, definitely. There's Pontiac, Firebird, yeah.
That's not what Wayne?
The 70s porn film.
Boogie Nights.
That's the one.
Mine was Boogie Nights as well.
Yeah.
When they're in the hot tub, coming out with the name Dirk Diggler. He played Jack Horner, the head of the studio, or the director. Sorry, he wasn't the head of the studio; he was the director. Actually, I think he was head of the studio. Whatever. But he was sat in the hot tub with Wahlberg and the other guy, who's soon to play Oliver Hardy, which is a bit weird, but there we go. From playing a porn star to playing Oliver Hardy. But, yeah.
Mark Wahlberg?
No, not Mark Wahlberg. The other guy.
I don't know.
John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly, that's right. John C. Reilly.
He's playing Oliver Hardy?
I can see that.
Steve Gunn's playing Stan Laurel, and Oliver Hardy's been played by John C. Reilly, yeah. And it's based when, in the 50s, they came to England for a tour like they did, but it's based in the 50s, so it's after their kind of career.
Weren't they British anyway?
Stan Laurel was.
Wait, is that the thin one?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that still your favourite karaoke song?
What?
The Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah,
that's one.
Taylor Lonesome Pine. trailer loads of mine.
Give us a verse.
No, I'd rather
Do
not.
it.
Go on, give us a verse.
I can tell you my Stan Laurel story, which is terrible, but it's not terrible. I like it. But...
Go on then.
And
Then
there's
verse.
a guy on stage in Scotland, really, really quickly, guy on stage in Scotland, and he was doing fantastically. He was amazing, and everyone went to see him, and basically people from Hollywood came over to say, oh, God, I see this guy. He's absolutely amazing. They saw him on stage in Scotland, and he was brilliant. And they went back over to Hollywood and said, this is the guy you want. We'll get him over. So they flew him over, and he was a hit, and it was Charlie Chaplin. But it turns out, when they went to see Charlie Chaplin, he was actually ill that day, and his understudy was on stage, and it was Stan Laurel. So Charlie Chaplin,
That's
his
a great
career
story.
was basically
It's a
because of
great
Stan
story.
Laurel.
That is quite cool.
So that's
Is
and
it true?
there's a loose amount of truth to it. There's a lot of people who say that they came over for a period of time, and in that period of time, it was Stan Laurel doing that show. So there you go. And they looked the same because they had the same kind of outfit on and stuff, and they're both very thin as well. So it kind of goes that way.
Okay.
But
I remember Chaplin looking a little bit like Hitler.
no, he
When
had.
he made himself up to look like Hitler, yes.
Oh yeah, but he had the
did
tash as well.
Dictator film, didn't
He was in the Dictator film, that's right. But he had the tash because obviously the tash was kind of in style. It was Oliver Hardy who actually had the tash for Lauren Hardy. He had the kind of half tash there.
Wow.
Well, it's just, but that's what happened. That's what happened. Jean-Claude Van Damme would have been able to pull off
Of course he would.
whilst drinking Coors Light in the
I think,
hills.
Roper, I think you should give yourself a Oliver
That's the
Hardy
point.
tash.
The guy with the
When anyone
goatee.
ever asks,
That would
why
work
have
very
you
well
got-
for radio if it did
Yeah,
that.
indeed. Yeah.
Very
So
well.
if anyone asked if you know why you got your Hitler tash, I said no. It's an Oliver Hardy tash.
Fair enough.
I think you should change your goatee as well
To what?
to a tash, to a Hitler
Just
tash.
to that. I'm kind of sporting the Michael Greco, Beppe off EastEnders kind of look. It's always been one of my heroes.
That's a reach.
Yeah.
But
I like
very
that
successful
you know the
poker
actual
player.
actor's name too. I'm not sure I'd be that
Actually, not.
involved.
It was a stunning looking bloke, he was.
yeah, I like how, you have to say instead of just the character, it's the character and the actor. That's
Yeah.
that's why you have to really
Beppe,
explain something.
Michael, what was his name? Greco.
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 Not Gecko.
Gecko.
Idiot.
What are you changing your appearance? So one story that's been in the news quite a lot actually in the last couple of days
Okay.
is the Kaepernick. I think that's how you say his surname, Chris Kaepernick.
No, I've seen it. It's the guy that was the
He was the,
NFL player that kneeled down
that's right.
during the national anthem in some sort of protest against.
That's completely right.
Yeah.
He basically, Wayne, you're looking at me like you have
Yeah,
no
I
idea.
have no idea.
Okay, basically, to cut a long story short, he was a very successful NFL quarterback. He got the 49ers to the Super Bowl. He got them to the final, basically.
Okay, that's American hand egg.
Yeah, so basically,
Yeah.
he's a good player, and in a protest against police brutality to black people in America, before the national or during the national anthem before games, as they do all the time in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that was only brought in, I think, due to TV rights, and it was brought in by the government to say that they have to do it. Basically,
Okay.
so
Are
it
these
wasn't
like really old rules from like the 50s?
No.
Oh no.
That's one thing as well. So basically, a lot of the furore about it is because this has always happened, and you're basically ruining the flag. You're meant to do it to the flag. It was only brought in recently that they played the national anthem. Whatever. He knelt during it as a protest, and basically people saying that you're disrespecting the flag by doing it, and a lot of people carried on. He ended up losing his job as the quarterback of the 49ers and all that.
Does he still play for them?
Really?
No, not at all. But basically, what happened is that Nike brought out an advert recently with they had Serena Williams and a lot of other people saying,
Well, she's loved it. She's
Well,
Serena's
yeah.
been quite vocal about how she's
Yeah.
all for Nike doing this sort of advert.
That's true. But it was all about how you can come from nowhere and do your dreams and all that, just like the work like she has done, which is a
Okay.
great story. But they used his face, and it was along the line of the actual. It was along the lines of, stand up for what you believe in, even if it means sacrificing everything. It's along them lines, and it had his face, and it's just had "Just Do It, Nike." And basically, you got people in America who started burning Nike trainers in because they're standing up for the flag, and then you got a load of other people who are like buying loads more because it's standing.
It's a bold strategy.
It's a very bold strategy. I think
It's very bold, but
I think it's
honestly,
brilliant.
do you give that much of a shit about it?
I don't.
Yeah, I do.
Well,
I mean, of course, I don't know
hit me
anything
with your
about
shit then.
it.
So why do you care that much? As an English person,
That's the thing. That's the key element is that we're watching from afar because, to be honest, it's all about America and it's something. Personally, from Knight's point of view, I think it's a very bold and
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a really good marketing.
It might be
move.
a bit cynical if they're jumping on this bandwagon.
But that's what Americans do.
They do.
I'm sorry to...
They do.
To badmouth any Americans. I know plenty of Americans, and they're very highly strung.
They are.
There has to have an opinion on something, where I just don't.
But
if I'm honest,
that's because we're British. But the thing is,
it's
a lot of it is like anti-Trump as well because he obviously hates it as well.
Well, he came out was quite against it, wasn't he?
Yeah, of course he was.
So something was like. I can't remember the words he used,
well,
but he was very against it.
Yeah, it's a way for him. You know, I mean, obviously, everyone who pretty much listens to this knows that he's a prick anyway. So, like, he's against it, but it's big news. It's big news.
No, it is, but I don't know whether I'm arrogant as an English person.
Yeah, you are.
I don't know whether it's all English people. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll class myself as an arrogant English person.
You're not arrogant.
I don't. And
You're an idiot.
I'll pride myself on this, but I think we are the world's most arrogant nation because I don't think there is a single word that's ever been used against me that I've taken offence to.
Yeah, but I don't think that's arrogant. I think that we just have a bit like me in that queue at the range, right?
Yeah.
Anything can happen, and you can just lift an eye. You can have a look to someone that you don't know, and you can just look in a certain way and raise an eyebrow, and they know exactly what you're saying. They're like, yes, yeah. I know. I understand your point of view, and I know you're going to stand there and not say anything. Unfortunately, obviously, she had a T-shirt on back to front. but basically, we have that. Obviously, Americans don't. They don't have a filter. They don't have a filter. They don't have.
Why not,
a cushion.
Pete? Why not?
Because they are stupid. They don't have a history.
You're generalising an awful lot. Some of the best comedians around are American. And
I would agree. I would agree. But answer me this. So there are certain words that are thrown out, and again, I'll point out before I say this, I am not a racist in any point. But there are certain.
Never trust a conversation.
But there are certain words.
I'm not a racist.
Wait, and get rid of the bleeps, the bleep button, the bleep button.
But there are certain words that get thrown against
this is Ben
people
Roper
of different
talking.
Nationalities that they consider offensive. So if we're talking about, they consider the word as an offensive word. I don't. Okay, so I am siding with these people. However, have you ever come across anybody from... do you consider the word a pomme or le roast beef or anything like that? Would you ever listen to it and find offence at it?
No, because if I go to France, then I want le roast beef.
No, and that's my point, is that we are not... and we don't find offence at it. That's probably our arrogance.
It is, but it's also a kind of a... I kind of believe that you can't be racist towards white people.
Okay.
Because racism stems from...
people of colour.
Well, no, it's about inequality. White people don't have an inequality problem. We're not, oppressed over how many generations, like someone from a, Southeast Asian origin, who you could use the P word.
This has got deep,
of course.
man.
It is.
No, it has got deep. It
has. Well, that's kind of what you do when you get pissed.
Yeah.
Hi. So, I there's nothing you can say to a white person that is going to oppress them, regardless of what language and years of generational, cultural, institutionalized hate.
I know.
I think no. I think the thing is, I think if you're English, you see these stories from America, and you see what happens there and stuff, and you kind of watch it on the news, and you kind of go, okay, not whatever, but you go, okay, that's happening there, and you probably side with one side, which is normally kind of like not the middle ground,
the
but
common sense,
the common
sort of
sense
ground.
normal.
Yes.
And then you go down the pub, and you're down the pub or whatever, or you go into the local shop, or you go to where you're playing football, and you're playing with a load of people from all sorts of places. And to be honest, the normal person really doesn't really care.
No,
when over in America, they have these issues all the time, and it's like, we know they're big, but over here, I just think people just get on with it.
Of course they do.
They get on, and then they record it on a podcast.
In my lifetime, if someone was to throw at me and call me an English prick, I'd be offended by the prick part, not the English.
Ben,
Do you know what I mean?
I'm not going to call you an English prick.
Oh, please do.
But I'm just going to call you a prick.
Well, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'll agree with that. I'm a bit of a prick. But if you went to America and said you are an American prick, they would call the race thing on you. They would class it because you've said America first. And they'd be offended by that. And that's what does my head in.
But they're a lot more patriotic than we are.
Oh,
is it patriotic?
Yeah, they love that shit. They've got flags, If someone like burnt a Union Jack in front of me, I ain't gonna care.
It's because
if you do that in America, it's a hate crime.
It's because they're insecure. And they're afraid. That's the thing about Americans. And if there's Americans listening to this, a lot of them will go, okay, that's not me, but I understand where they're coming from.
It's some Americans.
Some Americans.
Not.
They're basically, the whole society and all their news is basically predicated toward being afraid of things. This is happening. This is coming over. This is going to kill you. This is going to get you. Pump money into the military. Oh, it's all nonsense.
It's all bollocks.
Pump money into the military. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. And it never does. It never really does, and it's all about fear, and that's what they fear.
Hey.
They need me there. That's what it is. They need me to turn around and say, like, this is not the fear that you should be worried about. It's me. I'm the fear that you should be worried about.
Yeah, lock at the daughters, people.
That I don't think. I mean, you get podcasts like this in America where they sit around and chat, and generally they would be more English because they would turn around and go, "It's all nonsense. What a load of idiots." But because they've had a beer, and when they've had a beer, normally like the truth comes out, and also they just relax a bit more, and they're not uptight, and they just go, yeah, actually, it doesn't really matter what it is. But this Back to the Night campaign, I just think it's really good. I think it's a great campaign. It's got no to do with the company, because the company's probably got a million faults. It's people making stuff for about £2.50, no, £2.50, 2p. In a sweatshop in the middle of nowhere. But like, it's interesting. It is definitely interesting, because also he was a good player. And the one thing that Ode Trumpington said was, "Oh yeah, it was nothing. He was no player. He got to the Super Bowl as a quarterback, as their main player
on his shoulders."
Yeah.
That's the most important player, right?
It is the most important player by a big distance.
VIP or whatever they call them.
Did they win?
MVP, yeah.
MVP.
Oh, he's the big cheese. He is the big cheese. But it's bloody interesting. I mean, over here, I don't think you wouldn't get to that state in the slightest. It wouldn't even get there. If Gola was ever going to get on board Harry Kane because of something, it wouldn't happen.
We sometimes wear like black armbands about things, don't we?
Yes,
usually
generally because
death.
someone died.
Yeah.
Someone
but
died.
even that gets a bit controversial, because is it FIFA? Say we don't like it?
Yeah, no. What happens over here is you can't, in the world of football, you can't actually display anything political or anything to do with political. So, but what they do is when there's a game around the 11th of November, all the clubs have a poppy on the back on their shirts, and that's fine because it's domestic. But when England play, they can't put a poppy on their shirts because it's something that's seen as being political. But the FA just went balls to that, and they just did it anyway because there was a game last year.
Got fined, didn't we?
They got fined like £50,000, but then Russia get fined £50,000 for basically 70,000 people making monkey noises for 90 minutes.
I get the monkey noises. I think that's wrong.
Oh, I was wondering where I was going there.
In all ways,
I agree with that.
Wrong.
Yeah.
You were there.
I was not. For the record, I'm the most PC person. But I think it's just horrible, though, isn't it? It's horrible.
It's the same fine you get for wearing the wrong socks. For some reason England wore the wrong socks. I don't know why, but they did, and they got fined more money than like Croatia did for basically what I said previous. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely unbelievable.
It is. And there's certain players like Shaqiri and I think Granit Xhaka at the minute have done that celebration where they display the golden eagle of Albania, but that's meant to be offensive to other people.
But there's all sorts, isn't there? I mean, Gascoigne, when he was at Rangers, did the old flute and all that sort of thing. And
I genuinely don't get it. And this is me just probably it's like an ignorant, pissed up as I am, Englishman.
That's
just
because
why do people get so offended by
that's why we're
so
lucky.
Little things?
We are so lucky because we live in the centre of England, in a place that is, I'm not saying dull, I'm saying is just in the middle of everything.
Sedentary.
And when it comes to all sorts of bits and bobs, like with Northern Ireland, with Scotland, with politics, with religion and all that, it doesn't, especially us three here, it doesn't affect us. We are
No,
the three.
not at all.
We are three white lads in our mid to late 30s who it doesn't really affect, and that's the reason
Yeah.
that we can make a podcast
I'm
where
late
just having a
30s.
laugh and get pissed.
I'd like to pet you before I go. I'll be back tomorrow night so we can drink some more. I don't care what the people are thinking. I'm not drunk, I'm just a drinking. I said more, another round. I said more, another round. I said more, another round. One more round, get me down. Another round. Another round. Another round. Another round.